the Pegasus Astro Smart Eyepiece. This is one of the most hotly anticipated products
This is amazing.
of 2025. In this video, we're going to be checking it out.
Hi everybody, welcome to BBROASTRO. My name's Ben and I'm a deep sky astrophotographer and I've been taking photographs of the night sky for the last 7 years. In this video, we're going to be looking at the Pegasus Astro SmartEye eyepiece. This eyepiece will allow us to look deeper into the universe than we've ever been able to do before. A conventional eyepiece is amazing and it gets us close to the universe. We can feel close with what we're looking at. But sometimes those faint grey fuzzy spots just aren't enough. So we're going to be checking out this SmartEye, seeing the features, going over it and trying it out on multiple different telescopes. I'm going to give my thoughts and feelings about this. This is not affiliated with any company, so I'm going to be totally honest throughout this video. I'm really excited to try this. I love technology and I do love astronomy too. So combining those two together and making the sky more accessible, that's what I'm all about. So behind me, I've got a 12-inch Dobsonian. I'm going to be using it on that. I know it's a huge light bucket and I know this is really good for smaller aperture telescopes. One of the huge perks about the SmartEye is it's so sensitive to the faint light. This allows you to use it on a smaller aperture telescope. Typically with visual astronomy, we need dark skies and also really big fast aperture Dobsonians. But this may revolutionize the entire visual astronomy scene for the first time since its inception. Anyway, let's get going to setting it up, unboxing, going through its features and seeing how it goes.
Welcome to an unboxing of quite possibly the most expensive eyepiece to ever get released. It comes in a nice box. There is a QR code you can scan for instructions and it takes you to the Pegasus SmartEye website. We've got a little sticker with branding, we've got the eyepiece itself. We've got a really nice DC barrel to USB-C power adapter, so it allows you to connect it to whatever you need to have it connected to. We've got a USB-C cable included, which is nice, and we've got the nose piece you will need to connect the camera. Also includes a nice eye cup cover, which is great to have. A nice touch from Pegasus is they have a rubber gasket on this sensor cover to keep out dust and moisture. On the camera, we've got our main push button and dial. We've got the micro SD card input and we've got the USB-C input. There is a diopter adjustment in order to move the eyepiece up and down. This is to adjust for your specific vision. We'll see this later in action where it instructs you to adjust it. On the side we've got an SD4 port, which is a future planning in order to guide and dither directly to your mount from the camera. The little nubbin you can see here is the Wi-Fi antenna. Let's do the satisfying peel that everyone looks forward to when they get a new product.
So who is the SmartEye aimed at? The obvious one is star parties. Things like outreach where you have people gathered around a telescope wanting to look through it. This is a potentially really good opportunity to show normal people outside of astronomy the night sky and it look actually impressive. The other use cases that I can see it being good for are people with degrading vision and they can't easily see things. As you get older, your pupils dilate less. The less your pupils dilate, the less light that's entering your eye. And it can be harder and harder to see fainter and fainter objects. Personally, my use case that I really want to use this for is live streaming. The idea to live stream the views of the night sky to a larger audience of people around the world is something that really excites me. For me, accessibility is a big thing for astronomy. Some people live in high-rise flats in the middle of cities, and they can't possibly have a telescope. And so I love to bring those views from the universe down to Earth. Okay, so let's talk about the features that are in the SmartEye. Inside of here is an IMX533 sensor from Sony. This is the color version of that sensor. There's also a 90-degree field of view eyepiece located here. And the screen inside of here is a 4K OLED display, and it looks really amazing. On the side, we have our main way to communicate with this device. It's like a digital crown, like on the Apple Watches. You can turn it and then you can click it in to select. It's powered by USB Type-C. This is power delivery USB-C, so you will need a good external battery to power it. If you're going to be powering it from a computer, make sure you do have a computer that can do power delivery. It requires 5 volts at 3 amps. It also has a little SD card slot so you can save your images there. It does have built-in memory though, something I didn't know until I used it. It has about 20 gig of internal memory. And yeah, that's helpful to know. The overall build quality of this, if you're used to Pegasus products, is solid metal. It's just really nice to hold. It's not actually too heavy. It comes in at around 200 grams heavier than my ZWO 533 sensor with the filter jaw, which is actually much lighter than I expected. The size of it is around the same size as the APS-C cameras from ZWO, like the 2600 line of cameras. And yeah, it seems quite big if you're used to the smaller ones, but it's not too big.
The first thing to do when you get your Pegasus SmartEye is to make sure it's fully updated. This is really easy to do. Connect your SmartEye via a USB-C cable to a PD port on your computer. If you're not sure if you have one, check the specs of your computer or buy a hub that has a PD USB-C port. Then run the update application you can download from Pegasus website and follow the instructions. So let's get the 12-inch Dobsonian set up, ready for the Pegasus SmartEye. I'm really excited to see how this performs. I have a lot of experience with the IMX533 sensors. I've been using them for around 5 years, both the colour and the monochrome sensor. So I'm excited to see how this performs with an eyepiece attached. If anything in this video tickles your fancy, links will be in the description below where you can find all the products featured. And just as a warning, my speaking is about to get very quiet because it was around midnight when I was recording this video.
So I've got it powered from my Pegasus box with a Lynx Astro cable. So I'm using the power module to power this with a USB cable. And yeah, we just powered it on just now. This is what we can see. Oh, it's upside down. It needs to be orientated with the power cable facing up. There is a right and wrong way to orientate this. Just to give you a size of how big it is within a focuser, it's pretty big.
Well, that was something I was not expecting. The fact that it has a gyroscope and accelerometer, I thought it would have an auto-rotate function, where it wouldn't matter which way you put it in, but apparently so. Here I'm slewing the 12-inch Dobsonian to Messier 27, the Dumbbell Nebula. This is a target I know really well through the 14-inch Dobsonian, and is one of my favourites. Its diffuse characteristics looks really stunning, and often has a 3D pop.
I'm just trying to find focus with it. I'm using the live view mode. I am struggling to reach focus. I think I need a bit more focus travel. So I am going to have to add a 2-inch extension to get this in focus. So I'm going to go grab an extension tube, as the focus is racked all the way out, but it's still not enough. So here we go. My first view of a deep sky object through the Pegasus SmartEye digital eyepiece. I'm viewing the Dumbbell Nebula, which is really exciting. It's a beautiful nebula. I viewed this through my 14-inch Dobsonian the conventional way, so let's see how it looks through the smart eyepiece. It looks diffuse, as you'd expect, so I'm going to do a live stack and see it come to life. I've got to say, it looks pretty similar to my 14-inch Dob in the live view, which is quite cool. One thing though I am noticing is the fan is very loud. It's definitely louder than the ZWO cameras I use. And with the fan right by your head, it can get a little bit much. Through the 90-degree field of view, I am noticing quite a lot of coma. So I'm going to go to the menu by pressing this side button. I'm going to go to new observation. Now it's going to do its first exposure. It's counting down timer at the top, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. It's gone black. Wow. Now it's showing me the first image. I can see way more detail now. Oh wow, it's just got brighter. Because of the huge field of view, oh my god, it has such a 3D pop. This is amazing. It has such a 3D pop, it's incredible. I'm going to turn my light off because I don't want to ruin the exposures. Oh my goodness. It's really coming to life now. We're about 3 exposures in. There is colour starting to appear. I can see the red lines appearing, the greenish colour. This is so cool. Seeing this come to life in front of you is spectacular. The screen resolution is fantastic as well. Oh my goodness. This is just the coolest. You can also see a lot more star colour. Really amazing. This is so incredible. This is perfect for live streaming to people too. And honestly, that's the use case that I would personally use this for. Doing live streams to an audience and showing them real time. I know it's not the same as obviously looking through a conventional eyepiece, but this is really extending the life of different telescope setups. I love imaging. I've been doing deep sky imaging for 7 years and I've done live stacking like this. But there's something really odd about viewing it through an eyepiece, but odd in a really good way. And I think a lot of people should give this a go. If you have the opportunity to look through one, definitely do it. So I've just gone back to the eyepiece and it's captured even more. We've only been doing this a few minutes and the colour coming through is incredible. I know this Dobsonian is a light bucket, it's a 12-inch Dobsonian. But yeah, this is incredible. I hope I'm going to get to test this with a small refractor, but I'm also going to put this on my 14-inch Dobsonian and hopefully an 8-inch SCT. Then we can see the difference between the focal ratios and the aperture and light gathering. But so far, this is so cool. I'm going to go to some more targets and carry on with tonight. And I'll show you some images in the morning that I'm able to capture tonight. Because it's not just viewing, it's capturing photos too. It's 2 in 1. That's what makes this one of the most coolest experiences. Anyway, I'm going to get back to having a gaze at the night sky. See you in the morning. This is just so cool. This is the view through the eyepiece. It has such a 3D kind of feel. It's really hard to explain. But if you've ever used a VR headset, you'll know what I mean. So amazing. It's a beautiful evening and it's a great opportunity to now try the Pegasus SmartEye on an SCT. An SCT might be one of the best use cases for this. SCTs typically have slow focal ratios of around f10 to f11. This can make it harder to see faint objects, but they're great for things like solar system viewing. Pegasus recommends that you use a reducer with an SCT to bring the focal ratio down to around 6.3 or f7. They recommend using telescopes with focal ratios of f7 and faster, but it doesn't mean that you can't use an f10 focal ratio telescope. It just means that you're going to have to use longer single exposures and spend more time looking at the target to allow the live stacks to get larger and larger. This will produce a brighter and brighter image, but will take longer than a faster focal ratio telescope like the 12-inch Newtonian I've been using. If you're using a telescope with a 1.25-inch diagonal, you're going to have to use one of these. This is an M42 to 1.25-inch adapter, and these nose piece adapters come with a lot of cameras, and you're going to have to put a 1.25-inch filter on the end. This can screw directly into an M42 to M48 adapter, and then that adapter can connect to the nose piece that comes with this eyepiece. And that's how we can get it connected to 1.25-inch diagonal. Using a 2-inch diagonal would be ideal because then you can mount it directly. It would also probably hold it with a bit more force because it's a little bit thicker, as you can see. So I'm just going to put it in. This Celestron diagonal is not the sturdiest, so I'm going to be quick because I don't want it to fall out. I'm going to tighten this thumb screw down really snug. So we've got it connected. I'm going to attach my phone with the tri-adapter from Move Shoot Move, and I'm going to show you how simple and easy the setup sequence is with this eyepiece. It takes all of a few seconds and you'll get going looking at the sky before you know it. So this should clearly isolate the issue with trying to use a phone adapter with this eyepiece. This is the Celestron NEYXZZ adapter. It's one of the most popular ones that people buy. And it's a great adapter, but the issue is it's quite bulky. So if we try and add it to the eyepiece, we have to maximize this thread out because it won't necessarily go as big enough. And then when we try and actually get it on, you're going to see we have to kind of mangle it on. But the main issue is it's too big and bulky to actually get it next to the camera. It bangs the camera on the housing at the bottom. So this is kind of a no-go, and you can't really orientate it a way that will actually work. Also, as I say, it's just not going to work with how deep this bit is here. Now if we bring in the Move Shoot Move Try adapter, we can see it's much more simply designed and it's made of full metal. The metal construction makes it robust. It is a little bit weighty, but the simplicity of it is very elegant. So if we open the drawer here, this is where the eyepiece will go in, and it easily fits over it. As you can see, it's the perfect depth for this eyepiece. It sits pretty much flush, and then we can clamp it closed. It does squash the eyepiece cup a little bit, but it sits absolutely perfectly and it's nice and solid, as you can see. It's not going to fall off. This is a perfect solution if you want to use a phone with this SmartEye eyepiece. Okay, so here we are starting up the Pegasus SmartEye. As soon as you get past the loading screen for the SmartEye, you're going to see the very first thing you get to do. Rotating the diopter on the side here, which is hidden by the phone clamp for now. But this allows you to adjust the eyepiece so the eyepiece is in focus with your eyes. Once we're happy with that, we can press the side button. This is how we're going to operate the SmartEye going forward. So once we press that, we get immediately met with the main menu. We can go down to New Observation and it will start doing a live stack. Or we can press Live View and just tap the side and it will go straight into Live View and see what we're seeing in the night sky. Because it's currently daytime, we're not going to see anything because I have the cap on the end of the telescope on. But if we press the side button again, it'll bring up the menu. If we scroll down by rotating the side, we can go to New Observation and that will start our live stack. If we go down to settings, we have the options to change the display brightness by going to Display, Brightness. I have it currently set at 5%, but we can turn it all the way up to 100. I like the lower brightness because this feels way more natural. It also helps protect my night vision a bit. But if I turn the brightness up to 50%, we can see how much brighter it goes. We can change the mode from color to monochrome, and we can also go back to live view here. We can also change the settings for the sensor. We can change the temperature, just like a normal deep sky camera, from 20 degrees all the way down to -15, which gives us a really good range for getting the best image quality that we can. When we set this temperature, it also means we can do different levels of darks, which I'll show you in a second. We can also go down one more and change the integration time from 5 seconds for mounts that might not have as good tracking. Then we can go all the way down to 30 seconds. The 30 seconds is good for those who have good tracking mounts, but also for really faint targets. I like 10 seconds because my mounts aren't absolutely perfect, but if you're using an equatorial mount, this will be amazing. If I go down to here, we can press Take Dark Frames, and it will warn us that we need to also cover the telescope when we do this. The easiest way to do this is to actually do it with the camera off a telescope, and you can place the original screw-on cover on the front, and that will allow you to take your dark frames. So I'll just show you how I take dark frames. If we go start taking dark frames, it goes through and takes multiple exposures. So it's doing the darks for the live view first, 4 of 4 completed. Now it's doing darks for observation, 1 of 10. And depending on your exposure time, it's going to take either multiple 10-second exposures or 20 or 5 or whatever you have set. So as you can see at the top, the dark frames have been calibrated and we won't have to do anything else. It will automatically apply our dark frames to our live stack when we start doing a new observation. If we go down one more, we'll go to alpaca mode. Alpaca mode is purely a pass-through mode, which allows the signal from the sensor to go straight to astronomy software if you want to use it as a deep sky camera. As we're not going to be doing that, we can just ignore it. But that's the option you'll use if you want to use it with software like Nina. And finally, we can go back to live view once more. I'll just show you a few more settings. We've also got the option of the Wi-Fi regions as you will set for your area. We've got storage, so we can check out the storage capacity of our memory card and also our built-in storage. We can eject the SD card or we can format it. We have the options for that. Finally, we've got general, and this is a really good option because we've got the options for sharing our view with other people. This is a fantastic feature of this device. So we can access the SmartEye Wi-Fi down here, but guest viewing sharing is how you would share the view with other people. This QR code appears in the eyepiece and you can get people to hold their phone up to the eyepiece and simply scan this QR code. It will open up their browser and will then allow them to see what you're seeing through the eyepiece. This is an amazing way to share the views with other people, especially if you're doing a stargazing party or doing outreach. You can allow people who are waiting to also see the target they're looking at. I'm pretty sure they can also save the image, which is super cool. They can come away and save the image that they saw and share it with friends and family, which is an amazing resource for allowing other people to see the sky, but also get people excited about space. If I go back, we've got the web dashboard. This is the one that you'll probably use. We've got factory reset at the bottom. So that's the menu. It's really simple and easy to use. So live view and new observation, they're the modes you're going to be using the most. And they're the things we're going to be doing tonight. So this was a quick walkthrough on how easy and simple the setup is and the menus are. Super user-friendly, and I think Pegasus have done a really good job at making this accessible, but also really quite powerful. So taking dark frames is super easy, you really don't have to do much, and it automatically applies them. I love that they've integrated this. Also, alpaca mode is really good for those who want to start getting more into deep sky astrophotography. This eyepiece really does pack a lot of punch in the package. The options for observatories and those doing outreach are truly amazing. I'm so excited to see other people getting access to looking through this SmartEye. They're really going to love it. And those who are running events are going to find this a true joy to use. Super user friendly, and pretty much anyone who's ever used a watch can use one of these.
Here we can see access to the SmartEye local website. This allows you to view your live capture that's coming in, but also see the image gallery of images you've already captured. You can download them straight to your phone, which is great. There is a bug currently that when you try and scroll, it keeps clicking the target. Intuitively, most people will scroll with the whole screen, not the side, so I'd like to see this updated and fixed quite soon. It can be very tedious to deal with. We can go back to home and once again see the live capture, and at the top shows the total capture time. To confirm, you can use a USB-A to USB-C adapter. This will power it fine as long as you have enough ampage with your power source. And here is the amazing 90-degree field of view. It's really hard to show on camera, but it's very immersive.
So tonight is the second night out with the Pegasus SmartEye digital eyepiece. Really excited to be out with it. It was a really cool first experience with it on the first night 2 nights ago. So tonight I'm going to compare it with a conventional eyepiece. Even though I know it's not going to be the same experience, I want to try and convey to the audience, you guys, how it is looking through a normal eyepiece and then this digital one. So far though, this SmartEye digital eyepiece has been really similar to what I would say is like a virtual reality experience. If you have experience with a VR headset, especially the modern day ones that have OLED displays, this really does remind me of that. If you don't have experience with a VR headset, it's something that you should definitely try sometime. This is really cool experience. And for those who I know want to jump on and say, this isn't real astronomy or this is not real, you should just use your eyeball. Well, it's not supposed to replace a conventional eyepiece, and it's not supposed to replace a full-blown deep sky rig. What this is a hybrid between the two, and it offers a really unique and cool experience. You can hop between some amazing views and then capturing deep sky objects with a full-blown tech-cooled astronomy camera. That's something that no one else is doing, and I really think this deserves a lot of praise, and Pegasus for taking the risk of maybe upsetting both crowds, the deep sky astrophotographers and the purist visual astronomers. Anyway, let's put the Pegasus SmartEye in and start capturing some more images and having a look deep into the universe, and deeper than we ever have before.
Here we're seeing the Celestron 8 SE base aligning with StarSense. This is really cool. When StarSense actually finally works, it's a really cool system that auto-aligns the setup, and it's quite fun to watch. We had an International Space Station flyover, which was really cool. Unfortunately though, I really couldn't get the SCT to work with my setup.
I've used various adapters and I have a feeling that I've moved the focus point too far out the tube for it to get focus. This will be so much easier with a 2-inch diagonal, and yeah, this is something just to pay attention to if you plan to use it with a smaller diagonal or 1.25-inch setup. I'm going to go back to the Dobsonian because I don't want to waste any more time on this, and I really do want to get back to using the SmartEye and get some nice views and some more images forward with you guys.
A slightly better way of doing this would be to remove the extra extension and use an M48 to M42 adapter, and then use an M42 to 1.25-inch nosepiece, get an M54 male to 1.25-inch adapter, and this will help shorten the imaging train. It would be really nice if Pegasus could include an option for us folks using M48 and M42 adapters. So back to the Dobsonian I go to get some more views of the beautiful sights that deep sky can reveal.
So after 2 nights out with the Pegasus SmartEye, I have a few ideas of where I feel like this device belongs within astronomy. At one end of the spectrum you've got pure visual astronomy, and at the other end you've got deep sky astrophotography, and in the middle we've got EAA or electronically assisted astronomy. And I feel like this is a step above that. So while you can get a setup and use it for EAA, that will probably cost you a little bit more and require a lot more complexity. The SmartEye offers an all-in-one package a bit like the C-Star. I feel like this is also a bit above the C-Star, because the C-Star you're locked into ZWO and it only offers a small aperture, whereas the SmartEye can really elevate your experience by allowing you to put it on pretty much whatever telescope you have. There's also something I do want to quickly address. I've been browsing the forums as this device has been really hotly anticipated, and I've seen a few comments about the pixel resolution and overall the screen. The idea of essentially sticking your phone up against your face, well, this isn't like that. As I say, this is really similar to virtual reality. When you're using VR, it feels like you're in front of a 200-inch screen, not a phone up against your face. It's a completely different experience. It feels like you've got a screen the size of a wall in front of you. And that's what delivers the unique experience of a wide field or wide apparent field of view eyepiece. This delivers a similar view to a Nagler eyepiece from Teleview around 11mm or so, and that gives a really nice wide apparent field of view. And this is just essentially a digital version. The other thought is the live view. The live view is much closer to electronically assisted astrophotography, and that's where a lot of people might like to sit. The live view can offer a brighter image if you want it than you can get with typical visual astronomy. When you're chasing faint galaxies, you can often only see the very central bright portion of it, and even then it can still be very faint. Experienced visual astronomers under very dark skies, they will be able to see a lot more than I can due to my inexperience. But this allows normal people to get a good visual experience much more easily. In terms of pixelation of the screen, you are pretty much never ever going to see any pixels. This has also been debated online because Pegasus have compared it to an iPhone display with the pixel per inch. In my own experience of using an iPhone and a Mac for quite a long time, around 10 years, I can say this is very similar to a Retina display of the Apple devices. And all that means is it's got a high enough pixels per inch for your eyes not to be able to discern any pixels. And that's what I've noticed with this Pegasus display. It's very, very nice quality. One really big positive about the SmartEye is the fact that it can link up with Sky Safari and it can do plate solving. Your ability to frame up a faint target is one of the really difficult things about doing visual astronomy. and the time you spent hunting can spend more time actually viewing the target. And I know part of the difficulty of hunting is a huge draw for a lot of visual astronomers. Finally finding that faint fuzzy object is part of the thrill. And trust me, I've been there, I love doing it too. But for some situations that's not practical. For things like observatories and star parties, getting more people viewing the night sky is more important than the chase of hunting the target. And for observatories and outreach, this device is possibly the best thing to have ever come out. Electronically assisted astronomy, looking at a screen on a laptop or a big display, so while they could have a big TV on the wall or a projector, it's not the same thing as looking through a 90-degree eyepiece or similar thing like that. The option of night vision is also an option. Night vision is real time, so it's not doing looped exposures. You're seeing it in real time with your eyes. You can also just use it one time and just hold it up towards the night sky. The drawback is it's really expensive. You can get multiple Pegasus SmartEye devices for essentially one night vision scope. So if you already have night vision, this probably won't replace it, but the thing the SmartEye can really do is it really shines with outreach. Plate solving, being able to do stacked exposures so people can see things in actual colour can be really amazing. A lot of people dream of seeing the night sky in colour, and especially when it comes to showing people who have never seen anything through a telescope. They want to see it like they do in books or in photos. And I know that's not always what we want, but it gives us another opportunity. And that's the key of this device. It doesn't replace what we already have, it's just another thing that we can use. So put down those pitchforks. I know some of you really want to hate on the Pegasus SmartEye, but like I say, it doesn't replace whatever you have already. It complements or adds on to your setup that you already have. And actually, if you own an SCT, this can potentially be an amazing device. A telescope that lacks light gathering ability or has a slower focal ratio. Just add a reducer on and this can really open up so many more opportunities. For bright targets like the planets or the moon, the Pegasus SmartEye doesn't make too much sense. This is really designed for really faint objects that your eyes struggle to see. The amount of times I've done visual astronomy, and I've been looking through my 14-inch Dobsonian, I have loved the views, but I wish I could almost gather more light with my eyes. And I know I could get a bigger and bigger telescope, but financially and practically, that's not an option for 99% of us. And really, we want to get more light through our little telescopes. And this is what the Pegasus SmartEye can do. If any of these features sound like it would make your life so much better doing astronomy, and you do have the money to spend to get this device, feel free to check out the link below where I have an affiliate link where you can buy the Pegasus SmartEye. I earn a little bit of commission on each sale, so it really helps me make more future videos for totally free. And like I say, it doesn't cost you anything extra, it just helps me just a little bit. I've made some quick notes of things that I would like to see improved on maybe a version 2 or with software updates. So the first thing would be the fact it has a gyroscope and an accelerometer, but it doesn't have auto rotate built into it. So you can place the device in upside down, and actually I think the cable coming out the bottom for 99% of setups makes more sense. So it would really be great if it could auto detect that you've rotated it 180 degrees and will flip the display upside down. That's something that could easily be done in a software update. I would also like to see a red light filter option where inside it you can enable the display to have a red filter. That way you can help protect your night vision. As the display is emitting light, it actually does make your iris close up just a little bit. And I have the screen turned all the way down with the gamma all the way down. This actually gives it a more natural view, much closer to what my 14-inch Dob sees. So for personal preference, I do that, but also to help protect my night vision. In terms of hardware, I really would love to see a slightly deeper eyepiece cup. That's personal preference, but also because of my use case, I wanted to live stream. The only phone clamp I owned that would actually work with it was the Move Shoot Move Tri-Adapter. And thank you to Move Shoot Move for sending this to me. I'm going to have a future video where I go through the Nomad Star Tracker, and I'm really excited to show that off. That's an amazing little device that I think everyone should have in their kit bag. So yes, a deeper eyepiece, and that would allow more phone clamps to clamp on, because I think for outreach and for people to clamp phones to this would be a really good use case. The other thing in terms of hardware, I would really like to see the button on the side be capacitive touch. When you click to start the new observation, you might find that your first exposure might have star trailing. This will be because the telescope hasn't had enough time to settle. It would also be good if Pegasus could enable in software just a slight delay between you pressing the new exposure. but capacitive touch would also aid in this quite a lot. I'd also like to see some implementation maybe of some cable management. I know this could easily be done in 3D printing, but it's something nice to see that Pegasus could work on. The other thing I'd like to see included is a 1.25-inch adapter. I know they're cheap and they come with a lot of other things, but due to the price of the Pegasus SmartEye, I really think it should probably be included. The other thing I find kind of strange is the case that's included is really lovely, but you can't actually fit the SmartEye in if you have anything else attached. You have to have the screw-in cap for the sensor side, and you can't have the cover for the eyepiece attached. So you have to take everything off to get it back in the case, which can be a little inconvenient because you have to have the 2-inch nose piece attached to use it. So I really feel like they could maybe adjust the case design where you could have everything still attached to put it in the case. The only other two drawbacks in terms of actually using it, the first one I mentioned when I was actually using it was the fact that you will see some star trailing as you're moving the telescope or finding your object. And this is due to the loop exposure of half a second. The other drawback is the fan is actually really quite loud. It's louder than my ZWO Astro cameras, and I think it'll be louder than most Astro cameras. This is because the fan is quite a bit smaller, so it has to spin at a higher RPM to have efficient cooling. What's interesting though is it seems to be on 100% the whole time, even if you're at only 20 degrees cooling or if you're at 0 degrees. And so I think this is something that could also be addressed in software. As your head is going to be pretty close to the SmartEye, you're going to notice that fan noise quite a lot. And it is quite loud, so it's something to note that I don't think a lot of people will realise. A few things I do really like. One is obviously the included case. That's a really nice touch. And I do love the USB-C to DC power adapter that they include. They're surprisingly difficult to actually find online. I've looked quite a few times when I've been looking at mini PCs, but it's really nice that they include one because it gives more flexibility to power this device. It also makes sense because they do make the power box line of accessories, so it would only make sense that they two work together. I've really enjoyed using this SmartEye eyepiece for the last few nights. Overall, I think it's a fantastic device, and I think for version 1, Pegasus has done really well. On the surface, I know loads of people are going to think it's just an IMX533 sensor with a screen and then an eyepiece slapped on top, but it's much more than that. I think if you want an almost live view experience just quickly through the eyepiece, this is amazing. It offers more sensitive views than you can get with your eyes, and almost still live view. It's 0.5 second loop exposures. You also have the option to customize the brightness, which increases the amount of light you can actually see on screen, and you can adjust the gamma to bring out more or less contrast. But if you want to go full deep sky, you still can too. You can use this in alpaca mode within the menu, and it will act as a pass-through straight to a software like Nina, and you can use it like a conventional deep sky camera. Of course, this makes it a much more expensive option, but you can't do that with your normal deep sky camera because you can turn the Pegasus back into a smart eyepiece. The plate solving with Sky Safari, as I say, I haven't tested it, but if it works as good as planned, which I don't see why it wouldn't, will be an amazing addition when you're trying to hunt the fainter targets. If you're interested in anything featured in this video, be it the 12-inch go-to Dobsonian, the SmartEye filters or anything else, check out the links below where you can find some great deals on astronomy equipment. As already mentioned, I love the 90-degree apparent field of view. It really looks like you're looking through an actual window at a much larger region of space. That's a really, really cool thing and really is one of the nice features about this. At the price point though, you probably would expect something like that in terms of a visual experience. If you've enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please do consider subscribing. Something like 85 or 90% of people who watch my videos aren't subscribed, and especially when they're repeat viewers, I do wonder, maybe they don't know they can subscribe. It's free. Press the button below if you want to see more videos that get uploaded, and do hit the bell notification to get alerted when I actually upload. There's going to be way more videos to come. I've got some really cool things to come, and I really can't wait to get uploading more videos for you. I've got more videos planned, including taking photos of the night sky with just your phone and getting into the next steps easily with astrophotography. I'm also going to be covering a flat panel, which I cannot wait to do. Flats have been a nightmare for me. So if you want to level up your automation and deep sky imaging with an automated flat panel, that will be coming hopefully very, very soon, and I cannot wait. Here are my closing final thoughts. If any equipment works for you and improves your enjoyment of astronomy or makes it more accessible to more people, it's a great thing. I feel like the Pegasus SmartEye does exactly this. and I really liked using it too. I say this in so many videos, but don't let anyone tell you you've bought the wrong thing. We all have completely different requirements and circumstances, and no one truly knows you better than you. So that might be buying a small tiny refractor, or it might be buying a £1,500 eyepiece. And as always, thank you so much for watching. My name's Ben, you've been watching BBROASTRO, and remember to keep looking up.